You ever run guns while donating to charity? One of the three of us has, and I'll give you 2 guesses, and that's it. Welcome to Scion, Godsend. For all legal reasons, that was a joke. Please, for the love of God, don't fucking raid me. I got a couple announcements, actually. We're going to do some announcements for Onyx Path. Onyx Path has some pretty great sales going on right now. There's stuff, what is it called? It is an OGL sale at the Indie Press Revolution store. We'll be throwing the link in right meow. Bam. Look at that. I'm on top of it today. Not really. We are also, or rather, Onyx Path is also having another sale over at We Love Game Sale. A We Love Game Sale is happening over at Drive-Thru RPG. Plenty of Onyx Path product going on currently. We'll get the link in that chat as well. Bam. Look at that. Right on top of it. I can't be stopped today. I'm so out of it, guys. This is going to be a weird session. All right. That's all I've got. You can check those links out for the sales of pretty great TTRPGs. Pretty great. Interest is not my forte. We're going to go ahead and ignore that and go ahead and jump into meeting our Scions for the day. So let's go ahead and do just that, shall we?
Yeah, Gideon Danger, and I would like to open with a prayer of sorts. The gym is my shepherd; I shall not skip.
What
he
the
maketh me
fuck is
deadlift and
happening?
leadeth me into the squat rack. He leads me down the path of the strong for his name's sake. Way, though I walk through the gym of the shadow of swole, I shall fear no squat weight, for the swole is with me. You preparest a table of chicken breast and sweet potatoes. Thou anointest me with protein. My shaker cup runneth over. And I will dwell in the house of iron forever.
My great-grandmother is screaming in my ear from beyond the grave right now.
Well, amen to that, I guess. Whoever is doing the virgin sacrificing, there seems to be a mix-up. Nobody's asking for that. Could you please stop? You're pissing some people off. Nobody wants these virgins. Just a message from the mythos. Dad told me to tell you guys.
You heard it here first. We worship whey protein, and the mythos doesn't want your virgin sacrifices. Fucking cut it out. Yeah, that's Jesus Christ. Only two of our heroes today. We had Charles and Dallas encounter some life issues, but no worries. They will be missed today, but we are going to press and see what adventures our two heroes can get into. So with that being said, let's jump into today's episode of Scion Godsend. Gregor, if you would kindly.
All right. Last session was a fun one. We started off by meeting Circe, the witch, with laser eyes, possibly. And she kind of asked us what did we want from her, and we offered things, and we asked for individual things. Thalos wanted to know about his daddy's dark history. Charles wanted an adventure. Gideon wanted obfuscation of an island. I just want to know what she knew, because the Greeks have been incredibly tight-lipped with me, and I don't like that. And I figured, she probably is one of the experts on what everybody else knows there. She took a thing from each of us. She took part of my knack. She took part of Thalos's knack. She took part of Charles's hair, which was odd. I don't see where that came in yet. And then she took some of Gideon's blood. And then she went and had a child, as you do. After some poking and prodding around and some luxury, the child was. We went to go eat with her, feast on pork. Just a mild cannibalism. It's okay if they've been transmuted, right? Then the child came out. The child originally was just a random baby. Okay. She had told us she was laboring, but apparently I was the one who picked up that she had a child in the couple of hours since she left us. And then it came to be known that the child was bound to Gideon, which pissed him the fuck off. He raised the island about 4 inches, so there's when global warming finally hits the island, it's got another 4 inches to survive, I guess. doing good, doing God's work there, I guess. Then we ended on a bit of a tenuous note as what the fuck's gonna happen with this kid? Because Gideon wasn't happy. I was, in favor of the experiment because my general thing is what's the worst that could happen? You get to live you get to live 2 lives now. You get to experience more of existence. That's a good thing. Gideon didn't see it that way. Gideon also didn't care for the manipulating of the child, or at least it seemed to shift that way once he was affected by it. So bit of a what the heck's going on here kind of moment. The child also almost broke Charles's tail. Charles being a hero level and the child presumably being a human level has incredible strength, terrifying strength, because I don't think I could break Charles's tail.
Thank you for catching us up, Gregor. This is where we begin. You all were last seen having a meal with Circe. Gideon had proclaimed that a child would not be used as a tool, and that the island was raised 4 inches, and that the deal was struck that she would be obscuring the island that you raised, which technically you have done. The scene is yours, gentlemen.
Well, at this point, I'm giving Circe my best death stare, since I've been avoiding her eyes this whole trip. Now is the moment for her to gaze upon me and perhaps I don't know, disintegrate me or take me seriously. So we are at an impasse. Hopefully the child's not screaming, because that would make it really awkward.
It's playing with keys, if I recall correctly, because Charles managed to, break the death grip on his tail by jingling keys in front of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So I say again, Circe, I will not allow you to, one, shirk the responsibility of facilitating the raising of this child by taking them off your hands, nor will I abandon them. So what are we to do here?
Seems a bit of a joint custody situation, then.
I don't know what that means.
Meaning you are welcome to stay on the island for as long as your purpose fits, I suppose. We'll raise the child together, I suppose. You may be involved or as not involved as you wish. From what I understand, you're going to be quite busy.
I have many obligations. This has now become one of them, it seems.
How noble. The world may make a hero of you yet, Gideon Danger. If you'll excuse me, gentlemen, I'm feeling a bit tired from the day's events. You may feel free to continue your meal. Enjoy.
You still owe me, and you can't deliver to my dreams.
You may retire to my chamber if you wish. We may talk while I prepare for sleep.
Am I stupid enough to fall for this? I am stupid enough to fall for this.
She looks to you, Gideon, and then looks to the child and says, "Do you have him for at least a few hours?"
I do.
Excellent.
I look at the kid and I wonder what it eats. Souls. It clearly eats souls.
Probably mushed carrots. Just mush the carrots, Gideon. They're sugary and sweet.
Gregor, you follow behind Circe as she leaves this chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Gideon, you are left with Thallus and Charles and a banquet hall full of food. And a very perturbed forest nymph was kind of watching the child and should I stay or is this... Would you like some privacy?
I don't know. What is it you do here?
Not my usual tasks with this one around. She points to the baby.
Well, considering he just got here, what were you doing before that?
Enjoying existence, really. Frolicking, dancing.
Then go back to doing that.
Okay, you've got him?
I really loathe repeating myself.
Okay, I'm gonna go now. Charles is busy dangling keys, trying to entertain the child. Thallus is awkwardly eating some pork. What are your thoughts, Gideon?
I'm annoyed because this kid can't tell me what the hell he wants. At least I don't think he can. It's actually a really good question. Just a second, please. Sorry, I had to close the door.
No worries.
I haven't looked into the spirit realm here, so I'm going to allow my death epicenter to kind of take hold for a moment and see if there are spirits about of the dead.
You peek beyond the veil and find that you are empty. It is devoid of spirits here. Of the dead variety.
That's good to know. Now the child has displayed some strength already. Does it appear to have any purviews that I can pick up on? Like, does it seem strong? Does it seem sturdy?
Yeah, do you have any ability that you want to use in conjunction with this kind of assessment?
Well, I've already used the entropic eye on it to assess whether it has vulnerabilities.
Mm.
And the only thing I was able to discern was that it will die. That it right now is at its most powerful, and that power will likely bleed off. So as of right now, I guess is it like the size of a newly born infant, or is it like a little bigger than that?
It's a little bigger than that. I would say choose intellect or cunning, and then I could see... Really, the only thing I could see for this is survival or culture to ascertain how far along the baby is in its growth cycle.
I'm not too worried about that. I'm more of a trial and error kind of guy.
Okay.
So I will. I'll see if the child is strong enough to snap a tail. I will see if it is strong enough to bear its own weight. And I will put him on the table with his fat feet and just see if he'll stand up.
You see the child wobble for a second and kind of like flail and almost kind of wiggle and then just fall on its ass. It doesn't cry or anything. It just kind of plops and then kind of smiles this toothy or this gummy smile.
Suppose you need a name. Such tricky things are names. I'm content to call you child.
Man called child.
I don't necessarily appreciate the names that I've been given. I can't imagine you would appreciate any I might give you.
Charles kind of
So-
speaks up and says, maybe we should brainstorm after, like, observing him for a while. Like, see if anything sticks out.
It sounds like something you would do for a pet.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, people get named and they don't really fit their names, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to give him one at all.
Yes, but why wouldn't he needs to be called something?
He's a child.
Dallas
Yeah.
chimes in and says, it's going to be very strange when he grows older and is still called child. Or unless that...
To pick his own name.
I like that, actually.
What if he wants to pick a name that isn't in any of the tongues that I speak? Or is representative of something that I don't know? There's no way to know. It's a child that was born literally less than an hour ago.
True. I mean, it's yours, so I suppose it's kind of your choice.
I turn to the child. I say, take no heed of their words. You are not mine. You are your own.
It flails and kind of reaches with grabby hands towards you.
Put a hand out, kind of grab by the torso.
Grips onto your finger, or at least attempts to. Your hands are quite larger than it would be able to wrap around a finger, but it grips onto the gauntlet of your finger, Gideon.
Mhm.
There's a little bit of pain. It's just not terrible. It's more of an irritation, like a thorn almost. Just this numbing sensation as it grips into your finger.
Is it due to strength, or is it more of like, is there just pain?
It is due to its strength, from what you
Okay.
can ascertain.
Crushing is one thing. Like if it's somehow, I don't know, producing some sensation. That
Yeah,
would be
if
a
it's
different...
like a burning sensation or anything like that, yeah.
All right, cool. Look, if you can do this, you should be able to stand up. I stand up again.
It wobbles, hold on to your finger. You kind of have to, like, shake a little bit to try to get it off your finger. It wobbles for a second and then falls on its ass again. Giggles.
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? I push it over.
Falls. And kind of starts to roll on its stomach and crawl across the dinner table.
Not worried about him hurting himself, so... If you fall, you fall. You'll figure it out.
We cut over to Gregor, who is following behind Circe as she leads you into her sleeping chambers.
Mm-hmm.
You follow behind. She says nothing. As you arrive at her chambers, you can see it is dimly lit. It smells deeply of incense of varying kinds. The sheets across where she sleeps look like silk. There are pillars that jut from the ceiling down into the floor in one continuous stonework, as if the bed has been carved from the very room itself. The eastern wall is gone, missing entirely, leading out directly into the forest, to the trees and the nature. You can see nymphs moving up to attend to Circe. She holds her arms out and has begun to be stripped bare.
Yeah, not gonna look at a lady stripping. So, eyes away. I was told like this would be my chance, and as such, I will begin questioning.
What is your first question, Mr. DeWitt?
Name all gods of my mythos you are aware of.
Gods? I know no gods of your mythos.
Is this some semantics thing?
Consider this one a freebie. Your questions must be more pointed, Mr. DeWitt.
Very well. What do you know of the King in Yellow?
You know that he is pompous.
Right? Are you aware of him? Are you aware of his agents on this world?
I am.
Can you identify those agents for me?
I could.
I asked all information of your mythos. Will you identify these agents for me?
I will give you the means to do so yourself. I'm a busy woman. Now I am a mother.
A mother who has half custody over a child, meaning you have twice as much time as your average mother.
I don't imagine that Gideon will be the doting father for very long.
Neither do I. However, in the child's teenage years, he may wish to toughen the child up.
Until that point, I'm not inclined to fill my schedule with anything aside motherhood. But I will provide you the means to identify your enemies, Mr. DeWitt.
What can you tell me of the structure of my pantheon?
There is a inherent lack of structure, if you ask me. They all serve one another. They all serve in separate hierarchies that bow to this and that. It's confusing to say the least. Figuring out who is above who. There is only one name that has interested me that everyone else seems to revere.
And that name is?
Azathoth.
Who is that? I haven't heard of him. Interesting. You are aware enough of the hierarchy to not be able to identify an actual hierarchy. That means you are aware of various different members. What do you know of the sleeper in Relay?
I know that he's stirring. And that he has his own agents out now. He's sentient and no longer in a deep slumber.
See. I see. What do you know of the greenish flame?
That's an interesting one. Why do you bring that thing up? What interest is it to you?
I am more familiar with that one than most. However, given the nature of my pantheon, the fact that I am more aware of it might very well mean that I know very little. They are obscuring by nature.
I know that it favors Kingsport Massachusetts. Any city with a subterranean network. It's where it is likely to dwell.
And that implies that it's in Paris.
The catacombs of Paris, home to a great many deal of those who wish to remain hidden.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm adding things to my notes.
Not a problem.
All right. All right. What do you know of Ron Tigoff?
Repeat the name for me.
Ron Tigoff.
At this point, the nymphs have dressed her in a sleeping gown. And she turns to face you. Says, the many-mouthed, she of the ivory throne. Hunter, leader, torturer. We've clashed in the past. At least, her servants have. There's a loose association. Just not really one of your family.
I see. I've only been vaguely aware of their existence, and was under the impression they were. In which case,
Oh, make no mistake, it's of your pantheon. They just don't count you as family.
interesting.
Why would it need family? Why would it need peers?
Such is the ego of my pantheon. Everybody seems to have that going on.
It only needs one thing, Gregor.
Oh.
To feed.
See. I see. You've encountered their followers. From what I understand, their followers are incredibly stealthy, given that I've only ever been able to find the traces, not the individuals. Were they attacking you directly?
They sought out knowledge from here. And another island you may be familiar with. Or rather, a denizen you may be familiar with. If you found this place, I imagine you're familiar with the story of Odysseus.
I am, vaguely. I read it once a long time ago.
Calypso and I bonded over our experiences. Her island is far better obscured than mine. In fact, many confuse the two of us for one another. I'm often sought out for her talents because she is capable in obfuscation. Even in stories, even in myth, even in rumors, her name rarely floats about. My point being, this creature, the many-mouthed, her servants were seeking Calypso. Instead, they found me.
I see. That's a potential problem later, after this king business is done, unless they're allied with the king, in which case that's gonna be dealt with. That's irritating. In which case, what do you know of Shub Nagareth? I'm not going to pronounce that name right. Going from a devourer to a creator.
I know she is considered your all-mother. The black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. She is the creator and destroyer of all the natural and all the nature of the earth, as far as your mythology goes.
Let's see.
I have fortunately never seen her, but I am told before she is seen, the air is thick and clogged with the smells of earth and grass, loam and rot. A sandstorm obscures her, from what I understand.
Let's see. All right. Interesting. What do you know of Yig?
Yig is actually one of your less interesting, in my opinion. Father of snakes, scaled death. Many pantheons have a creature like this. A god of snakes. He's gifted with what makes him boring is what also makes him difficult to pin down, I suppose. He's a snake god. As I said, most pantheons have something similar to this. So he blends in quite well. He is the most common of your pantheon. Everyone has a sibling or a tie to him in some way.
A gateway. In a way.
In a sense.
Is there any indication that he uses that to his advantage? Steals the worship of other snake-related deities?
Particularly in the southwest United States and in Mexico, quite so.
That's interesting. Very interesting. That was all the names I was aware of.
All?
Yes. I was limited in my understanding.
Why, pray tell, don't you ask about your own father?
I don't know what you mean.
Afraid of what you might learn.
My pantheon is nihilistic, self-defeating, fight right within fighting. What could be afraid? What could I be afraid to learn? I know I am a tool. I know every one of my pantheon scions are tools. We're actually honest about that. See? Unlike so many other pantheons who insist that they love their scions. But if you want to go on, by all means.
Would it surprise you to know that you aren't the first scion of Nyarlathotep that has visited my island?
No, I am aware that his scions reach far and wide and join many different groups. It would not be surprising to know that one or two of them have decided to take up a scholarly approach or do a deed for you.
More of his children have been killed by one another than many in your pantheon, I would imagine.
Yeah, he likes to play every side. It happens.
Now there's quite the statement. What side do you think he's playing currently, I wonder?
If I had to give an answer there, I would say, once again, all of them. You don't get his titles and not play all the sides. It is us who dedicate to a single side, from what I understand.
Are those all your questions, Mr. DeWitt?
You've learned this from somewhere. And I imagined it had to be a source within my pantheon of some kind. Who was your source? Or sources?
My information comes straight from the top, Mr. DeWitt. The Demon Sultan himself, one of his children, his unwitting servants, found their way here, hoping that I could cure them, hoping that I could fix them. They were convinced they were cursed. They didn't know, you see. There was no proper, what do you call it? Visitation. So I did my digging. I attempted to help them out of the kindness of my heart. And I found such wonders. Digging into their mind. It's how I know that I can't get into your dreams.
Well, that would depend on circumstances, but I imagine you could if you really tried. Just not through your normal way.
I learned things from this man. Things that shouldn't have to be known. In the end, the only thing to cure him was to take his life.
See you. Are there any names or titles that you are aware of that I have not mentioned?
Quite a number. Lord of the Great Abyss, Bakrug, Albtrum, Yogg-Sothoth.
I got him. I see. Could you tell me about this Albtrum, Bakrung, and Yogg-Sothoth?
I can, and I promised you I would. Albtrum sleeps in the South Atlantic Ocean. Been careful to avoid anything prodding or poking near there. The city is commonly referred to as Atlantis. He's often confused, at least his city is often confused, with the, what did you call him, the Great Sleeper, his city of Riley.
Interesting. Why would they're in different oceans? Why would somebody confuse those two?
Because mortals are stupid, Mr. DeWitt. Underwater city, a great evil, a great confusing mass of terror.
Fair enough.
You'll know her easily, quickly. She's the caller in the waves, the terror from below. She is a large and horrifying anglerfish. She glows in the dark.
Interesting.
If I'm remembering correctly, she once served your demon sultan.
Once served.
She should be a warning for you, Mr. DeWitt. She fell low from her station because her hunger drew her to the world. And so, after time, spending too much time near humans, was fate-bound. So many fate bindings led her to be trapped, no longer a part of her former station.
She became fate-bound and lost power within the Pantheon itself for humans. Would explain why we're able to avoid getting fate-bound so easily. Or why we would be incentivized to not be fate-bound.
And now, instead of visiting them, she draws them close to her when she gets hungry.
Then I suppose the anglerfish form is apt. Interesting. Interesting. South Atlantic lives in the city of Atlantis. Isn't that a Greek thing? Or Egyptian? One of those two?
It's a rumor, Mr. DeWitt, tied to both Egyptian, Atlanteans, ancient Sumerian. Many cultures claim Atlantis.
Interesting that. Was the city originally hers, or was it taken by her?
Who's to say? It's hers now. Anyone who had made a journey to attempt to discover the truth find her instead.
And as you said, she consumes them, implying that she starts them on that desire to find Atlantis. Interesting. What of this Bakrug character?
Before we dive into Bakrug and what Circe has to say about that, let's check in with Gideon. How are things going, Gideon? Are you still at the dinner table, or have you absconded elsewhere?
So depending on what the child has done, how many times he's fallen off the table, I will continue to watch him until I feel like I have an understanding as to whether his development seems to be ongoing or whether it's periodized. Like if it seems to happen in stages or whether it's kind of steady. I have a pretty patient eye. So
yeah, let's have a roll from you, Gideon, unless you have an ability that you want to use in conjunction.
I've already used Entropic Eye, so I won't use it again, but I would like to tap into my primeval calling if I could. The natural passage of time, I feel like, is not something that should be alien to me. Especially if it's particularly unnatural. And I have no legend to spend, but I will later. But I don't know if I don't know if I need to. We won't worry about it. But that's what I'm basically going to be using.
Okay.
So if I might roll my, I guess, intellect and calling, is that something I can do?
By all means.
I mean, this is magic baby. I'm using magic to magic it.
I believe you guys still have 4 momentum from last session, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
I count
2
correctly.
successes.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
2 successes. You watch the creature move across the table, fall. It only lets out a whimper every once in a while. Really only once it fell on an awkward position on its shoulder. It's when it lets out a small cry of discomfort, quickly rolls and crawls back over to you, Gideon, intent on having you lift it and place it again. It's in its own sense, it's trying to accomplish something likely pointless, something maybe that grown men and women wouldn't understand. There's a goal here, though. It's progressing. It's more intelligent than it should be. Obviously, having been born an hour ago, it's larger than it should be, having been born an hour ago. As you watch it crawl time and time again, it learns to crawl quicker. It learns to lift its head. Its strength is growing. It's progressing gradually.
Then once I kind of have an idea of that, I will bit cradle him and kind of. I'll fetch my bundle. I'll fetch my bundle of things, and I'm gonna go interrupt his mother's sleep.
Okay. You grab your bundle of things. Thalos and Charles say, want us to watch him, or are you taking him with you, or is that?
I'm taking him. I don't believe that we will. I'm not sure Not sure under what condition we will return, but I will return. I need to have a conversation with
Okay.
Circe.
You see they continue to eat as you stroll through the Palace of Circe. We'll get to your arrival very shortly. I'll let you know when you arrive. Gregor, you asked about Bakrug.
Mm-hmm.
She looks to you and says, "Now, there is one that called himself God. The people of Ebe, voiceless humans, green flesh, bulging eyes, flapping mouths, and small ears. These were his worshippers. That was long, long ago, from what I have gathered."
See. Is that all you're aware of ancient followers from times long past?
I know that after the fall of Ebe, people built a new city where Ebe once stood. I'm not sure if they remembered the great water lizard, but I know that he made subtle reminders. I'm not sure how well they were received.
See. And if that's all you know about him, that just leaves one more name. Who is this great lord of the abyss?
I first encountered them in my studies under the alias Nodens. That is the greatest liar of you all.
Oh,
He's parasitic, positively. This interdimensional construct that mimics gods and steals worship. Wholly and entirely. See where your god of snakes happens to be tied and confused sometimes and just happens to benefit. Nodens purposely tricks worshippers and steals worship, steals veneration. I'm not even sure they have a true form.
see. That's interesting. It's also odd that he's able to do that and not be caught, considering how many. I don't imagine you are aware of how he manages this.
No, unfortunately not. I know that my studies into your state of Massachusetts, Kingsport again, actually, saw one of its roosting spots.
Interesting.
I know that Poseidon is frustrated with whatever entity is stealing worship. I think it may be Nodens.
Interesting. So he's actively undercutting Poseidon.
Gideon, it's at this point you would arrive.
I pray I'm disturbing you.
Not me, by any means.
Gregor, have you learned and gleaned the information you hoped to glean here?
I've gained a lot. Why?
I'm going to ask for a moment to
By all
speak.
means.
What can I do for you?
Privately, Gregor.
Very well. Very well. Do you want me to take the child?
No. He should hear this. I know he can.
All right. I'm gonna step out, mildly confused as why he thinks the child uh, will be able to understand what's going on, but
You step out, leaving Gideon, Child, and Circe in the room.
Though this child has no godlike or titanic power, I know that once knowledge of their existence becomes available, they will be target for the enemies I've made in this war between gods and titans. It is for this reason that I have made the decision that he should split his time between your island, where he can be safe from prying eyes and threats, and traveling with me to learn of the world in which he will live and eventually die a mortal death. This is not an easy decision, but a necessary one. I have seen the toll that this war takes on our kind, and I know that my child will be caught in the middle of it all. But they are also immortal, and they must learn to live and thrive in this world, no matter how harsh it may be. So this place, where he can learn and be protected from the dangers of the outside world, and grow, free from worries and pressures of the war, will be the peaceful era of his life. The world in which he will live is where I will come in. I will teach my child everything I know about the world, about the war, about our enemies and our allies. He will learn to navigate this world on his own and to make his own decisions and face his own consequences. But he must understand that his mortality is both a strength and a weakness, and how to use them wisely. Like it or not, this child will be my legacy. I have no necessary hope for the future, but I will do whatever I can to ensure that he has the best possible life. This war will not claim my child. So you, Circe, as the mistress of this island and the domain and the mother of this child, will make the following provisions to facilitate his development while permitting him to experience the world in the periods of his life as fully as he would wish. Prepared to hear my terms?
I am prepared to listen. Will you hear mine after you've said your piece.
While on this island, he will have control over the pace of his aging, not by impulse, because we don't want him careening into adulthood in a tantrum, but as is made evident by his self-awareness and clarity in regards to learning the path his life will take, the life he has chosen, the path he chooses. While off the island, he will not age, nor will he be permitted to die of old age. And upon learning and experiencing all he would like while off the island, he can choose to move back here freely, to grow, and learn more. You will facilitate creation of a gateway through which he and I can travel in order to freely move from Terra Cognita or any other mid or underworld realm to this one. This will not be bound to a lock or a key, but to the conjoined nature of our beings. Such things cannot be stolen or misrepresented. This gate will persist as long as he lives. I shall do the same at the haven I will construct in the other ocean. As much as I would yearn to see every moment of his development, the outside world is too dangerous for a child to grow at a rapid pace. Too much can happen, too much can go wrong. No, he will come to learn of the world, to experience it, and to come to his own beliefs about it. About us, and about this perpetual struggle. And you may say what you like, you may declare any terms you wish, but understand that my terms are non-negotiable. You will do these things.
We'd already planned to care for the child, Gideon. As I said at dinner, he's not a punishment for you. He's a route to a new experience.
And I'm accepting this experience wholeheartedly. But you have thrust it upon me with various impositions that I deem unacceptable, and I'd like you to fix them. I've told you how. If you meet my terms, we can do this amicably.
Are you aware that your involvement may change course of his destiny? I intended for him to live as a mortal. I am siphoning magic from him as we speak. I'm siphoning the divinity from him as we speak and converting it so that he may grow quicker, so that you may experience things quicker.
I don't need this process expedited. I need to know that he can live the life he chooses to live, at the rate he chooses to live it, with whom he chooses to live with.
A noble statement. But again, your involvement changes things. He may be mortal by the time he hits 3 years of age, or at least the equivalent. For now, he is spewing a fountain of divinity. With your involvement, he may seek that again. He may very well seek out power to be like Daddy. And isn't the nature of our pantheon to have fathers slain by their sons?
You're asking if I would have you artificially restrict him from his right to divinity to protect myself? You clearly have no idea who the fuck you're dealing with. Destruction is the only guarantee. If I am to be destroyed by my child, then so be it. And it will be for the reasons that he chooses to do so. But I will not take that right from him, nor will you. You will abide by my terms, Circe. This is not a request. You will cease your manipulation of his development, and you will be a mother, not a maestro. You are not the arbiter of his destiny.
No, I suppose you're right. the fates are.
For now.
I find your terms agreeable.
I thought you might.
I'm curious as to what you mean, though. You wish for me to give him the power to grow. On his choice, but not
Yeah.
on his whims. So how am I to base his growth compared to his whims?
He is a divine child. He will find his callings. He will grow. He will learn. He will come to accept. He will change. He will divest himself of interest to learn others, as every child does, as I was not permitted to do. He will. I will not thrust upon him the burden of coming into this world formed with purpose, his freedom, and I will die to guarantee that he retains it on this island or another. Fates be damned, quite literally. And they are. At that point, Gideon will probably soften quite a bit. He grows quickly. He learns quickly. He wants to grow. He wants to learn.
Hence
Let him.
my concern for his whims, getting his parentage. He's going to want to be capable.
Yes, he is going to wish to learn sorcery from you. He's going to wish to learn magic from you. He's going to learn the ways of the nymphs and the wiles, the illusions. What are you so afraid of, Circe? You're afraid he's going to hurt me or you?
I don't wish to be accused of anything come morning when he decides to be 4 years old. That's all, Gideon.
As I said, his whims are not his callings. Think deeply about your connection with him. Tying his age to his paths is reasonable. As far as his birthrights are concerned, I believe he's owed some things from both of us.
And he will have them. Have you decided on a name?
No, he will choose it.
Peculiar, but not unacceptable.
You may call him what you like. Just remind him that it's temporary, unless he wishes to keep it. Circe, I came here looking for a boon. And I know that you have every intention of granting it. And I don't see this child as a curse. I see it as a surprise.
You've never done well with surprises, I gather.
This would be the first.
But I'm happy to grant you a new experience.
Oh, you shall. Again and again. Well, how is the child reacting with us being in the same room? Like, what is his general disposition?
Reaching for her, but also clinging to you, trying to almost will you two closer.
Okay, I will go sit next to her. I'm no alien to kinship. I was. It seems it is a virtue that he may wish. Let us pray that he does not also possess my rapacity.
I have no doubt he'll inherit some of your negative qualities. You may
Just to
also
say
see things akin to your companions as well.
well, intimacy, however, is not my strong suit, nor is it my desire. So if it is the child's will to sleep with you, then here he will rest.
She looks.
Again, he seems to want to grow and learn. He will likely be older by morning.
She looks down at him. Gideon, you're holding him currently. He's nuzzled up and now seems satisfied that the two objects of his affection or his comfort are close by and near. Unscorched by the fire of your being, he is now beginning to let his eyes drift closed.
I will wrap him in his first birthright, which will be the Cloak of Winter. And I will place him next to her because, well, something about being in a cold room with a cold blanket is pretty damn comfy. And she can freeze. I don't care. As it is the Cloak of Winter. So enjoy.
She kind of in a moment of perhaps forgetfulness smiles and kind of just pokes at his cheek, watching him kind of like reach out from the cloak and just kind of try to bat her away. She takes his hand. You watch his tiny fingers curl around it and just kind of drift back into what is the beginnings of slumber. Will that be all, Gideon?
Oh no. But for now, it would seem that this day can come to a close, Circe. Sleep well. You've done quite a bit today. I don't tell her, by the way, that the cloak comes with the neck that gives him access to perfect camouflage.
Understood.
And I will leave her with the deadliest invisible child known to man.
Understood. Gideon steps out. Gregor, if you are right by the door, you see him now walk out without the Cloak of Winter.
By the way, I accept a fate binding if it's not obvious.
Track and all.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, what kind did you have?
Apprentice. Derp.
Apprentice.
Come on. That's easy peasy. Easy. Oh, yeah. And then at some point when it's resolved, it becomes my rival? Are you kidding me? Rival is great. It doesn't have to be an enemy. That's like, do this, buddy.
You're gonna get murdered by your kid and be like, I'm so proud.
Oh,
Yeah, and then he'll start playing him.
You see Gideon walk out of Circe's bedchamber without the Cloak of Winter.
Nor the child. Which is
Nor the
annoying.
child.
There was one more name that she mentioned. And I need to know.
How long until we can travel again?
Well, there's a few more questions I have for her. Then we could leave as early as tonight if you wanted to.
I know that you had some matters you wanted to attend to, so I don't want to get in the way of either one of those. But let them rest for now.
All right. Let them rest for now. Then, yeah, I'll let them rest for now. I'm likely not going to get another chance to ask your questions, but meh. If that's what Gideon...
Trust me, there will be plenty of opportunities. We're not going to be strangers here.
No?
No. We came to an understanding.
All right, then. We can head out immediately if you want, though the ship's going to need rest. It'll
Well,
take longer to travel to the Pacific than it took to travel here.
okay.
So that's up to you if you want to give it that rest time while we're out at sea or while we're here. It would take you away from your child. I'm not sure how long exactly that rest time is going to be.
Well, all I need to know is how old he is in the morning, and then we can go from there.
All right. Very well.
But for the first time since we've met, I think I will sleep.
All right. Sleep well. Have wonderful dreams.
You're the one what kind of dreams I have.
I can learn.
You really want to? Welcome to hell, buddy.
You, two of
Better than
you
where I must
may
rest.
check on Charles and Thalos. You find them passed out at the banquet hall. Plates half full of pork. They made a decent dent in the long table of food. The fruits, the sweets, the pork itself has been cut clean into. They've made a decent dent. You find them again passed out in the banquet hall. Charles's hair is being kind of curled up in the fingers of nymphs as they kind of just pet him, mess with his tail a bit. It twitches almost absent-mindedly, trying to much like the child Gideon when he was trying to bat Circe away. The tail is kind of trying to dodge nymph hands. Thalos is being pet as well, just kind of pat every once in a while, sat by. They're kind of watching and examining.
I don't know much about your these nymph folks, but is this dangerous? I'm aware that they're dangerous. Should we stop this?
A little outside of my purview.
I'm fairly certain they're supposed to be dangerous. Let's
You should ask them.
I feel like they'll lie to me though.
We're harmless.
See? No, only dangerous people say that.
Well, but I mean, if they were really harmless and they said they were harmless, would you know?
A harmless individual doesn't need to specify they're harmless.
It's okay.
Well-
We'll take care of the leftovers and escort your friends back to their chambers. Are you sleeping all in the same room?
Is there a volcano on this island?
There's a large mountain. Not really a volcano, though.
I'll be there.
Would you like them brought to your room? Gregor?
Put them in the same room, preferably in the same bed. Open their shirts. It'll be funnier that way. No, I will be sleeping not in their room.
Understood. With that, we're going to take this moment to take our intermission. We'll be back here in about 5 to 7. We'll be back after some tech and bio. We'll see you guys very soon. Welcome back. Our heroes... Oh, thank you, Bendy. Appreciate that. Our heroes ended the evening taking a rest. Gideon, you've absconded to the tallest mountain on this place. It doesn't appear to be a volcano, but
It is now. I'm just kidding.
you may. All right. You abscond to your chambers, Gregor. Gideon, you abscond to a mountain that may or may not turn into a volcano given your presence. We'll see how things go. But either way, the two of you, plus Charles and Thalos, sleep soundly. Evening passes into night, night passes into dawn, and day awakens you both. The scene is yours. You may awake whenever you feel free during a time frame or a time. There's no clocks here on this island or anything like that. You had something, Gideon. Apologies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like in the morning as I wake up, would be a great time to compel my new fate binding. Um, as my apprentice will choose the worst time to try to help.
Excellent. Excellent. Anything else? Anything you? What do you need help with, Gideon? Just out of curiosity. What do you?
Also, the last thing the child would have seen that I needed help with was kind of establishing a baseline of like expectations for everything, right? That was kind of my way of making sure he understood where I stand. Because even if he can't speak, I'm assuming that like he's not going to forget in the night, even if he gets like exponentially smarter. So I'm playing fast and loose with the brain physics here. But ultimately, it should. So the way the compulsion works is, I am supposed to be stopping my apprentice from doing something disastrous. That's pretty much it. But they are trying to be helpful. So that's what I want to wake up to. So I gain one legend and then something awful happens for someone else, not for me. I probably have a
Understood.
great time.
In that case, Gregor, unfortunately, you don't get to choose when you wake up. I believe we had some discussion about temporal shift.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to slow the world around you and take some rest for yourself.
Yes, because somebody fucked me up real hard a little bit ago, and I
What?
need to heal.
What? How much time are you taking?
Reasonably as much as I can before other people start stirring, and that's going to be because spending all this time in one room is annoying. Likely me kind of pattering around every once in a while, then coming back, maybe trying to learn ancient Greece as a side piece while I'm resting.
Mm-hmm. So, Gregor, as you are resting, as the world is,
Slowed down.
as you, I believe you are. Oh man, time makes me confused.
I'm moving faster than everybody else.
Okay,
The world is at a standstill for me.
interesting. You do this, Gregor. Your facial hair grows. You may shave if you wish. Anything you interact with, I'm gonna incline to say, especially inanimate objects, will be able to still be used.
Noted.
You decide to learn ancient Greek. I'll say that I'm gonna have a roll for that particular venture.
Okay. Consider.
Give me a culture intellect roll.
Okay.
If you'd like to make an argument for another skill, by all means.
I would like to ask a question.
By all means.
Given my, speed reading ability and my palace of memory, so learning grammar and all that shouldn't be too difficult. Is this role augmented in any specific way? And with the speed reading bonus, what is it? The speed reading bonus is
I believe it gets you
+1 enhancement.
+1 enhancement. You also have a +2 enhancement on the roll from temporal shift. So you have a +3 enhancement currently standing. With Palace of Memory, you will be able to retain information. I'll say it'll lower the difficulty rating.
Okay. And does the arcane calculus purview come in with this being analysis, research, and investigation action, which would give me +1 additional enhancement and remove -1 or remove 1 complication?
It can, should you so choose. Just keep track of how much legend and/or awareness you're imbuing / spending.
That doesn't cost anything.
Okay.
That's the innate power. In which case, that would be 4 enhancement, -1 complication, and then whatever you decided the difficulty is. I don't have any dots in culture, so I needed to make sure I stack the text as much as possible here. All right. Okay, Dice. I just made this argument. You didn't have to go this hard. Okay, that was 4 successes.
4 successes.
Plus 4 for the enhancements, so 8 successes.
8 successes. You pick it up rather quickly. Thanks to Palace of Memory, speed reading. Anything that you pick up, anything that you're having trouble with, you just kind of reread over and over and over again. It's less
Brute force approach.
it is kind of a brute force approach. It's a lot of understanding, rather than like understanding the core of language. You're not going to pick up slang in ancient Greek or anything like that. But your sort of memorization is key here. You learn ancient Greek in rapid amount of time.
Excellent. Now all those books I have memorized, I can read.
Excellent. You do this. From your perspective, Gregor, after about a week, 2 weeks, the world is in the middle of the night. Or at least cresting maybe into, like, the sun is just barely peeking above the mountains. Your door slowly creaks open from your perspective.
All right. Once it's far enough that I could see the person, whoever's sneaking in, I'll continue to watch them as they act, considering I'm invisible effectively to them.
Wouldn't everything look slowly, regardless of whether someone was sneaking?
Go ahead and give me a... I'm going to call this... your cunning and whatever you think you need to notice something. To get a full grasp of who this is.
Full grasp of who this is.
You have a +2 enhancement because of temporal shift.
Nice. Probably empathy then, realistically, if I'm trying to recognize somebody.
By all means, this is going to be a opposed roll.
All right. So that is 5 total successes between enhancements and material.
On page 228, if you don't know already, Gilbert.
I'm just doing math. That is 6 successes. 3 material, 3 enhancement. You can't get a look. Something creeps into your room. Small, maybe about 2 feet, maybe about 1.5 feet. Cloaked all in white. And you look away for a moment, and then suddenly it's gone. As you go to put a book away and set things aside as you go in to go to investigate. And suddenly it's gone.
Likely an assassin. Well, if we're going to do this dance, then so be it. I'm just not going to sit in the same spot for more than a couple of minutes.
Gregor, through temple shift, you continue your research, continue your learning, continue your process of healing. Every once in a while, you look up and you begin to move, and you can see a chair is barricading your door. Then you look down and do something else, and then suddenly, the desk that you were reading at is now up against the door, and then a pillow and a blanket. The door is slowly being barricaded.
Weird methods, but okay. Now I'm more confused than anything else.
Almost days pass, and it is unbarricaded. And then there is suddenly Charles and Thalis lying in your bed. More days pass, the room is rebarricaded.
Okay. I have no clue what's going on with this. I'm going to, mess with things now. As once the barricade is back up, I'm just going to, start moving everything back where it belongs at my pace. See what
Understood.
happens.
Days pass, and frustrated, it seems, something smashes against the is wedged up. I shouldn't say smashed. Wedged up against the door, attempting to barricade the door.
It's going to keep on doing it until this individual is frustrated enough to reveal themselves.
It is a back and forth for several days. Finally, after you put everything back in place for about the third time, appearing in the center of the room as you kind of wait and kind of look around and you assess Thalos and Charles to see if they're okay, there is a small, frustrated child in the center staring at the door, arms crossed, maybe about 3, 4 years old, maybe 3.5, just frustrated, pouting. A mess of what looks like dirty blonde hair has grown. Their irises are a deep, looks like flaming red, but they are just staring at the door, almost frozen. If you watch imperceptibly, they move very slowly, just beginning to frown further and further, just staring at the door.
Do I recognize this child?
You certainly recognize the cloak. You would recognize the child, likely by their eyes.
Right. All right. Okay, kid. I don't know why you're in here, why you're trying to barricade this door, but that's not okay. Let's, I know. I'm gonna take a pillow, put it right in front of them. Then as they go to reach for it, let's see if I can just, trick the small child into leaving the room.
For your perception, Gregor, for days and days, you move the pillow bit by bit.
I've got books. It's fine. This is nothing.
You move it out of the door. It stops. You step inside to continue whatever you need to for the day. At the end of the day, the child is still standing there. It looks left. Hasn't stepped out. So you wait another day, it looks right. You wait another day and it slams the door shut and locks it and begins to try to barricade the door again. Gideon, from your perspective, it's morning.
Okay. Well, my plan for the morning is to make my way back to the house and return to where I left the child with their mother and determine the nature of development here before meeting with my companions. So I head toward Circe's palace and eventually her room.
You head toward Circe's palace. You find a number of nymphs, hushed, whispering amongst themselves, scattered across the palace, terrified.
Go here.
Are you heading towards Circe's chamber?
Yep.
Okay. They try to stop you. She's still asleep. We cannot wake her up yet. There's a little bit of a complication. That's all. We just can't.
You have exactly 5 seconds to get out of my way.
Shit. Steps out of your way.
Thank you and good morning. And I keep walking.
Circe is sound asleep in her bed. There is a raised crib that looks like it's made of vines and wood, naturally grown out of the garden, the opening of the east wall. It is empty.
Is there a bundle in the bed?
There is no bundle.
I look around, and probably for the first time since Gideon has been on this plane, he laughs. Terrifyingly. Cackling. As loudly as he will, as his might will allow. Like open-faced belly laughter. Insert
Nymphs,
bedroom.
nymphs and dryads and naiads hear this and cower in their trees, in their lakes and pools, the waters and the oceans. Shy away from this. Circe wakes up and... Is this the moment where you sneak in at dusk and kill me? Is that the need for the evil laughter?
No. Oh no. It would seem that murder is not the order the order for this morning. Did you lose something? Misplace something, perhaps?
There's a pause, and then a sudden wide-eyed eyes are beautiful light, but the eyes widen, and you can just make out the whites of humanoid eyes. As she rushes out of bed toward the crib. Where is he?
I go back to laughing.
Where is he, damn you?
I don't know. I just got here.
She rushes toward her bedchamber door. Nymphs are trying to hide and rush away, and she says, nope! She starts to give commands.
When she runs, I'm going to put a hand on her shoulder. Circe, it is not their responsibility to find him. It's ours. Calm down and take it in for a moment.
What was the cloak you gave him? What was that?
It's his birthright.
And what does it do?
Oh, you didn't decide to figure that out before you went to bed? I thought you knew all sorts of things.
I thought it was just a swaddle. I thought it was...
It was a swaddle.
To hide your face, that's all. Like, it was an actual relic, an actual...
Yes, it was a gift. It was a gift from those who told me to hunt the damned.
What does it do?
A few things. Come. I go. Well, I very calmly and slowly start walking through the house. And if she tries to run away or give orders, I will just kind of gently hold her by the wrist. And I will soothe the Sorceress Circe in my own awful way while mocking her mindlessly the entire time.
I think an empathy and manipulation roll would be best. If you want to make an argument for another skill.
Oh, no, I'm going to go presence. Subterfuge, if that's okay.
I like that better.
And I would like to invoke my identify weakness specialty of my empathy, because now I got her ass.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
3, 7. So this just adds an enhancement, right?
Yeah. This will grant an enhancement.
Oh, Circe. You done fucked up. 5 successes. Hold on, we get a 10. Okay, it's 5 successes on keeping her reasonable.
She is reasonable but panicked and stays by your side and says, it makes no sense for us to just be 2 people to look for this child when we have a plethora of friends and servants that we can call on. We can comb this island.
Do you want to frighten him and risk the lives of all of these people?
This wouldn't have to have happened if you would just have let me siphon and continue to redirect his divinity. Now he has it at his full disposal, no idea what he could do with no idea what he is even capable of.
It's amazing, isn't it? The little monster inside of all of us.
She looks up at you and says, this could spell doom for the entire island.
Well, then I suggest you get a handle on the situation quickly.
This way.
We'll keep walking.
She tries to walk a bit quicker, pulled by your hand. Gregor. Day by day, now the door is locked and slammed, and there is slowed laughter of a child as it barricades the door day by day. It's kind of a strange experience to hear a single tone for an entire day and then have it rise and then fall and rise and fall as hours pass. The child thinks it's one.
Yeah, I'm going to go sit at the base of the bed, with my long beard, grown out hair, and, all that, because it's been a month and I haven't done any grooming because I've been messing with this child for a month and reading. And unimbue the awareness so time resumes normally, and I'm just going to be like, hey, kid, could you stop barricading my fucking door?
It looks at you. There's a sort of mischievous smile on his face, knowing that it's been caught. And it runs, little toddle, as it begins to kind of throw chairs and pillows and everything that's thrown up against the door, as it laughs and finally gets to a point where it can kind of pry the door open and runs outside.
Flexively stops time, walks in front of the kid. Little ways in front of it, so it has time to slow down because I know this thing is strong. Restarts time as normal, and then just like, hey kid, where are you going?
Gregor, this child's not going to stop.
Stop time again. It's a reflexive action.
You pause time right at the moment where it leaps up and is kind of like tucked in, the cloak billowing behind it. Big mischievous smile on its face. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna step to the side and then just, start time again and let him fall.
He falls and rolls and just, you can hear a little bit of like a frustration, just like
Kid,
kind of looks around.
What are you doing?
And then runs away again.
Pause time. I'm gonna go find his mother. Because I know the layout of this place now, because I went and scouted ahead last session.
Gideon, you and Circe hear the sound. There's nothing more, some would say there's nothing more musical than a child's laughter. Certainly nothing louder when it is unimpeded and uninterrupted. It echoes across chambers and so the hallways of this space. Circe's eyes go wide and begin to try to pull in that direction. Do you allow this?
So what I'm going to do is I would like to I will imbue a legend for actually no, I'm not wearing them. I will just help her along as I'm not sure how fast she is, but I do have unearthly speed, so I will help her facilitate her travel as I know that she is concerned. And now we have a direction to travel in. So I will hunt my child.
You do this. You pull Circe along. Gregor with temporal shift active. Gideon and Circe are moving at in real life, in real time, they are moving at a very quick, almost a jogging pace. You see them almost walking. You can see them moving, though. They are moving at an unearthly speed. I think you're muted, my friend.
Huh. That's odd. Takes out a piece of paper, because I have my little notebook that I always have. Write something, because if they're moving this fast and I go to real time, they're not going to be able to. They're going to run right past me, and just tucks it into Circe's hand with his last known location, and then I'm gonna go walk back over to him, or I guess because they're at a jog pace for me, jog back over to him.
You do this. I'm going to roll to see if Circe even notices the note, given the circumstances.
Oh, by the way, can you go ahead and add a collateral to the pool, by the way? As I am not turning off my epic dexterity epicenter for this. So there is a trench forming in the palace.
Gregor, you see in slow time the trench begin to sort of crack and form as dirt and tile are shot up from where Gideon steps.
Yep, no, that tracks. That's Gideon, all right.
Gregor, she does not notice the note that is now being clenched in her fist. Gideon, Circe, you both rush toward the sound of a child's laughter. When you get to a certain hallway, I'm going to need a cunning and whatever you think you would need to notice something.
To notice something? I mean, I'm gonna go with subterfuge.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna grant you a +1 enhancement to this as well, Gideon. Given that you've donned this cloak many a time, and likely know what little misprints of the world to look for.
Yeah, temperature differences, all sorts of other fun stuff. Is it rolling? It says rolling the dice. We're rolling the dice. 3 successes with a reroll. 1. So 3 successes.
3 successes. You notice the child has tucked behind a pillar, and is sort of almost displaced in reality as it has thrown the hood on and is now just a little bit of space that is colder in the hallway behind a tapestry.
All right, so when I stop, so just so you know, this just happens. Okay, when I take a rolled movement action to make a chase roll, I had to make a chase roll. I gain access to the following stunts. In this essence, I'm going to use Wreathed in Thunder. So when I stop in front of the child, the terrain forms expendable cover right where I stop. So I'm boxing us in. I'll burn my that.
Understood.
And add another collateral to the pool.
We are up to 2 collateral. Excellent. You do this, Gregor. You see this in slowed time. The child doesn't move. But you hear like a...
I will look around as if I don't see him.
Circe is panicked, speaking about the trench now left in her home. The laughter. Why did we stop? She doesn't appear to have seen him.
Perhaps he's in another part of the palace.
Circe looks at you and says, "Then why are we stopping? What?"
I will look her in the eyes again, and I will just kind of like side eye the corner where he's hiding.
She looks and just kind of... Yes.
That's fine, though. There really was a whole lot to do this morning, and I mean, the gifts that we would bestow would expire in moments. But oh well, I suppose it's his loss.
Let's have
Let's gone to breakfast.
Let's have a persuasion or a subterfuge roll.
Oh, I will subterfuge the hell out of this. I will go present subterfuge for sure. And yes, I am testing my child's rapacity for sure. Because if he's a little greedy shit, then that makes my life a whole lot easier. 2 successes.
2 successes. There's some hesitation. You can hear the laughter kind of stifle, and then flinging the cloak off, he steps out in front of you. One hand kind of just like tucked into a fist at his side as he kind of puts his arm out as if to like halt you in place with his own power, with his own mind, with his own force of will, with his own stature. He cuts an adorable figure of attempted power.
I will recoil appropriately. I will look to Circe and say, "Would you mind eeping?"
Eeping? Oh, she kind of just ah.
But you were good at this.
I don't know. I don't know if I've been a mother
You
before.
seduced ships full of soldiers.
Seduction is different than a blatant lie. He's adorable. Look at him. He begins to kind of babble at you. You can make out specific words here and there. He seems to have been trying to learn speech in the time that he's grown. Looking at him, he's about 3.5, but he begins to babble at you. You pick out like halt, power, father, but the rest of it's just babbling baby speech.
Are you hungry, child?
Feast.
Cloak.
Dons it off, hands it back.
I hand it to his mother.
You can have this back soon when we're done with the day's events.
You're also cleaning this up. I point to the trench. Come now.
Grandpa did it.
he's not that wrong.
Speaking of Grandpa, what are you up to, Gregor? You're seeing a slow motion interaction happen here.
Question: can I understand, the word grandpa?
It takes time, yes, but yes.
Cool. He gets a flick on the nose.
Ow!
And then I'm gone. I'm just leaving.
Okay.
I might have, existed for thousands of years outside of existence, but I'm not a grandpa.
You should have a beard like one.
And then I'm gonna go shave.
Okay. Gideon, you take Circe and the child elsewhere. Time passes throughout this day. If there's anything of note you wish to do, I know that there is something there was a goal that you had for today.
And once Gregor joins us, then we can have the talk about what we want to do. And I will converse. I'll be actively like making small talk with the child to make sure that like he can start communicating effectively, at least a bit more. Not rushing him, just he hasn't had anybody to interact with, so I'm guessing it's probably his problem right now, because he needs more conversation. So, we talk through food, we start talking about what he wants, how to communicate those things, general functional behaviors that we can use to do things. And then when Gregor's back,
yeah, and I should show up pretty early on after that, because he was found. He got a flick in the nose. I'm shaved. It would basically just be, I can't live in the Pacific without asking somebody permission, so I need to do that first before we build the place.
I understand.
Otherwise, the Pacific isn't a good place for me to exist in.
Of note, Gideon, when Gregor emerges shaved and fresh, the child looks up and points and identifies Gregor as Grandpa.
Oh, he's got good facial recognition, motherfucker. I can change clothes.
Gregor is his name.
Grandpa.
Gregor.
Grandpa. Heh. Child laughs, points again, and just starts naming the word Grandpa, Grandpa.
I flicker for a moment, and he gets another flick on the nose.
Ow!
Gregor. If that is going to be the case, then I suppose we will need to depart for a time.
Indeed.
Well,
Did you wish to bring the child? What did you decide to name him?
he'll be naming himself when he's ready. Would you like to see the ocean, young one?
He looks between you and Circe and then back at the trench that you've caused and back up to you and just nods.
You realize that we'll have to leave your mother here for a time.
Frowns. And looks back at the trench. And then nods.
You still have to fix that trench.
Nods.
Don't worry, it'll take time for the alert to recharge, as it were. So we have time.
Circe looks to the two of you and says, and until you get back, it's to just remain here, a gaping wound in my palace.
Unless you want to make a habit of cleaning up his messes. I suppose it depends what kind of precedent you want to set.
Got you there.
Shoot you a look, Gregor.
I mean, I for one wouldn't clean up after my kids' messes after I've told them to clean it up.
Technically, it's my mess, but we made it looking for him, and you definitely wanted to do so urgently.
Keep him safe. His responsibilities will be here when he gets back. She looks down at the child. He looks up at her. You can recognize a bit of defiance, Gideon. You feel like it's going to be a fight to get him to clean that up if it's just her trying to enforce it.
Just remember, he doesn't get the cloak back until he's done.
He looks at you and then looks up at Circe and just can see the wheels turning as he kind of crosses his arms.
It'd be real funny if we didn't let him come back here for several years.
Well, he won't age off the island.
But it's boring.
That's the deal.
He follows behind you, Gideon. Little toddler steps. No, about 3 years old. Still a baby, technically. And moves to the alert with the rest of you. There is a very frightened, very frazzled woman still on the ship that begins to babble about the Thaluses all dying one by one, clutching their stomachs in pain, whispering that it's supposed to be quicker. This was supposed to not be like this. Please, God, why?
Sure that was the ship killing them, and that if she pisses it off, it'll do the same to her.
Cool. Drop me off at home.
Where's
Charles?
Is it round? I think he's got a hand.
You guys gathered up your companions. They are joining you very shortly.
He'll be here shortly, and don't worry. We'll be skipping that continent.
I hate this so much. But with no further obstacles, you two, along with your companions and your reluctant captive, set sail.
Not my captive.
It depends on what Charles is.
I didn't captive anybody.
Your passenger quickly forgets a lot of strife as the child boards as well, and she reaches for the child, Gideon, and kind of picks him up, and he babbles at her. I am going to need a roll to understand the blend of words mixed with baby babble that spew come next, if you so choose.
I'm just going to keep working on teaching him how to talk.
Understood.
Sure, I'll make the roll.
I will let her know. Be careful, he can snap your neck like a twig.
Okay. And she just bounces him on her knee. Yeah, Gregor, what you got for me?
Well, I'll make the
Um,
rule try to understand him. Let's do cunning empathy. Makes sense?
Cunning empathy absolutely makes sense.
Cool. I'm interested in what this little kid has to say after, what he did all night. One success. Less than I was hoping.
One success. There's not a whole lot. First of all, add a momentum to the pool.
Cool.
Secondly, it's not. You're not really getting words, but you get the sense that the child is pleased with being doted on, and it is not viewing this as it's going to remember this. That it somehow has sway because of its form, because it is cute.
Mm, I don't like that. Have you taught it how to speak at all? Have you been trying to teach it how to speak, or is that just Circe's doing?
Well, honestly, he only had the night to try to learn how to speak, and I don't know if he spoke to anyone other than he only spoke about Grandpa. So whatever words he learned in conversation between the hours in which he was awake between being born and last night.
Smart kid, then. Do you mind if I teach him his numbers and letters?
By all means.
All right.
You do this. You teach him English letters.
Yeah. Latin letters, technically, and Arabic numbers.
Thank you, Gregor. Ridiculous.
Have you ever seen Old English letters
I hate you.
before Latin letters got standardized?
I hate you. You guys travel. It
I
does
hate me too. Don't worry.
with the alert. You said it needed to take time to recharge in order to do its special
Yeah,
tricks.
it needs a week in between traveling. So it'll a week sailing the Mediterranean, and then after that,
With Gregor's permission, I will encourage the child to attend school with Gregor daily, and I will handle his practical education.
yeah.
Understood. Your passenger Charles and Thalos offer their aid as well. They'll tell him stories. They will teach him.
Charles can have gym class. It's fine.
Excellent. Attempts to spar with the child go poorly, as Charles does not remembers the child's strength, but doesn't really know how to grapple or approach or how do you put a toddler into a headlock. I don't know. That would be bad. But Charles is kind of unsure of how to spar with the child.
I will tell Charles to step aside and to instruct Chim Chim to act in his stead as a target of appropriate size.
Chim Chim approaches and squawks a few of the monkey cries. Casts off its bandolier of knives and sort of raises its fists. You see very quickly Chim Chim is tackled and sort of just noogied by the child, and starts to give it up like a bear hug. The child calls it a cat, and you can see Chim Chim is just trying to claw away at this point. It's a fun time sparring, but as you sail, the child learns, is taught numbers and letters, learns quickly, but it doesn't. Seems the further you get away from the island, the more appropriate its learning capabilities are.
Makes sense.
Yeah, once things seem to slow down and he kind of gets settled into whatever groove he's going to be in for this journey. I will while piloting, while at the wheel, kind of sit him up there, and I'll talk to him about where I came from, who I am, what I am, how I came to be, all of my time in Tartarus, the time spent hunting the dead, those who I trained under. So I'll tell him stories about Enceladus and how I used to be in the employ of Amit, and then how I used to be in the employ of I forgot her name. The soul eater, whatever.
Yes. Yes.
who I've divested myself of since. I answer all of his questions unabashedly and um, without reframing or any sort of there's no spoon feeding of the truth. I teach him hard truths about who I am and about how the powers that be see me and so forth, and how they may see him. So yeah, we have that talk for sure. You're part Titan. A lot of people are gonna hate you.
He's
Doesn't mean you're bad. Means you're bad.
he seems to understand. He repeats certain things in certain words. Titan, gods, Amit. Do you speak the words Cronus or Zeus to him?
I don't invoke either name. I will vaguely gesture at Olympus unless he asks about the attendees. When I tell him about my creation, it's not from the perspective of I was born of Cronus. It's I was created. I was brought into this world as a concept, and I had no control over who I was or what I did, but I was put into service because of what I am and because of what I can do. So for the majority of my existence, I had no choice. I was simply given a task and I knew nothing else, so I did it. And then after meeting, my friends, and I will talk about friendship and kinship. Now that it's a virtue that I now have. We'll talk about, kinship and all that fun stuff.
Let's have a roll from you, Gideon, as you have these difficult conversations. An empathy roll with whatever you would like in your mental or social arena.
Sure, it'll be presence. It's what I'm working with. And I won't cheat. I won't use any gifts or callings or knacks to otherwise change it. I'll try to keep it as honest as possible. Actually, can I borrow some momentum?
Yeah.
Let's burn. What's our maximum right now? 4.
Our max is 8. So
yeah, stays 8.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
can I burn 4?
Yeah, by all means.
All right. We'll see how he does.
Brings us down to 2 momentum.
4 successes.
4 successes. As you speak to him of your lineage and your life, and the fact that he is part Titan and that there's going to be adversity in his life, you continue on. You point out in the direction of Mount Olympus. There's a flash in his eyes as he gazes out where you gesture. You understand in this moment that your words hold power. You understand that flash, that moment of recognition, that brief bit of divinity that crossed over his irises is ambition. You're not sure if it is ambition in the sense that he will fight Olympus and take his place among gods, or if he will meet them as adversaries. Right now it is raw ambition.
I'll remind him that I am only one part of his coin. He has a mother to learn from who has her own experiences and place in this world in relation to the divine and the mortal realm. She's had her own interactions with him. She's lived a longer life than I have, and will have much more to share with you, assuming you don't spend your time there simply making her rip her lovely hair from her lovely head.
He giggles. And then, as you speak, he alternates his gaze from looking up at you and listening intently to drifting toward his eyes toward Olympus. That same ambition resting in his eyes. But you travel. You teach. Eventually you arrive in what is known as the Pacific. The borders of the seas are even more skewed than that of lands. Water is just water. Earth is just Earth. But you arrive in a place that would be called the Pacific.
Gregor, do you know how to find this place?
The ship's been there before. We don't need to find it.
And then I will allow the ship to guide me, guiding it, basically. I do teach the boy how to sail, though.
Excellent. Noted. You drift. You allow the alert to guide the journey. Eventually, the guidance ceases. Somewhere in the Pacific, surrounded by water, ship has nowhere left to guide you.
Go over the edge. Guess it's down there.
I will look to the child then. I will say, this is where your accompaniment with me on this part of our journey will come to a bit of a pause. I'll need to remain on board the alert with Charles, Thalis, the victim I keep forgetting, and Chum for the time being. Cause them no problems. Focus on your studies. Play with Chim Chim.
Chim Chim's hair is a bit frazzled. He looks at the child. There's a little bit of, not rage or madness, but just like rivalry almost.
Remember, Chim Chim, you are the richest you've ever been. It's worth it.
Also remember, Chim Chim, he's gonna grow up. You'll still get to be our mascot.
Casts the bandolier and knives away and then starts to inch his way toward the child.
This is the fairest fight you will ever have. I would take advantage of it if I were you. He will only get larger.
You can see Chim Chim leap at the child. The child kind of grabs onto him. They begin to roll on top of the ship. The scene is yours, gentlemen.
All right. Well,
It's on you, Gregor.
gotta get down somehow, and I can only think of one way. I'm gonna, hoist myself up. I'm gonna sit on the edge. Ready? My people love living in the abyss. It's always fun, and I'm gonna yeet myself off the edge.
I do the
And
same.
if you wouldn't mind, good old storyteller, I'm going to do a marvel using calling out to Cthulhu himself, using my Pantheon motif, which is esoteric calls, asking him permission to interrelay effectively, and invoking my arcane calculus purview, but to enable our usual power of sinking. Otherwise, death would work because we would enter a deathless state to interrelay.
Understood. You do this. For this, I am going to have to ask one of our players to put on an old hat. I need to speak with Royal Grey.
Okay, sure.
Royal, your companion, touched by the mythos, is desperately calling out to you. You keep him hidden, as we have seen.
Yep.
Wherever you are, he's asking for a meeting. He's asking for you to come to him.
You're talking about my ex-Dragonite turned water boy.
Correct.
Yeah. I welcome him into my home. I open my doors. And I make the portal obvious to him.
He bursts forth, coated in water dripping onto your floor, and he says, "They're calling me."
Can you not flood the foyer every time you show up?
They're calling me.
Who is calling you?
Your friend. I'm being tasked and I need to leave. I need passage.
You've been asked to appear. as an emissary of one of your own.
Yes.
Are you prepared for this? This is who you are. This is who you've chosen to be. The choice is yours. Always has been.
I have to, otherwise whoever is calling on them, whoever is seeking them out, they will face something far worse.
The Scions?
I think so.
I give them my regards. But know that once you appear, there's no going back.
It's right at the seat of his power, and I don't know if it's possible for me to fight my way back.
Well, remember what we learned of the Scions. They do mean well. So, perhaps you will find kinship in them. I've done all I can for you.
I'm sorry for any trouble I've caused, Royal.
Please, have some nachos.
He laughs as he reaches. Almost, messily, just instead of grabbing a single chip or two, he grabs a grip of nachos and nods. Clutches it close to his chest, cheese dripping down his shirt, and he says, I'm ready.
Then get out. Forever.
He nods. He steps through a portal of your making.
Yeah. Before he does, I will embrace him. And I will bless him. I will provide him with a mark. As regardless of whom he serves, the dragons will know of our kinship. And his protection. Can't hide him, but he can sponsor him. I'm good for that.
He nods. And then hugs you close. And goes to say something and then just steps through the portal.
I shut the door. I guess I get that legend back.
Indeed.
Or whatever it's called. What's the legend? No, it's not legend. What is it?
Inheritance.
Inheritance. I get that inheritance back finally from hiding his ass this whole time.
Yep.
Wow, what's that like? Fuck. All right, cool. I'm gonna spend that on. I'll think about it later.
We fade back to Gregor and Gideon.
Taking a big old swim.
Falling in the darkness, in the depths.
You fall into the water. Gideon, you follow behind.
Mm-hmm.
Into the water, you hold your breath.
It's for a long time.
You fall. Where light doesn't find the ocean floor, you fall. Gregor, you should be suffocating at this point.
Mm-hmm.
In the stillness of the water, sound is muted. But you think you may hear singing. A choir of chorus of sound. It's peaceful as the darkness takes you. As you drift suddenly toward a green, effervescent glow. The singing gets louder and louder. It's beautiful. Something shifts. light dims just a bit. You can make out sunken pillars and towers. The city greets you. You begin to drift on this current under the water toward it. Suddenly your journey is stopped, halted. The sounds of the choir reach a crescendo as something emerges out of a portal. A man. Long dark hair. Nachos clutched close to his chest. A black shirt that his cheese kind of spews and drifts among the sea floor and the water. His eyes wide and mad. Gregor, you recognize this individual. This is the individual that you spoke with, Royal Grey.
Huh. Didn't expect to see you here. I say in the water as if I can speak.
You bull. He looks around and Oh. He starts to just shove nachos into his mouth and free his hands. And something pulses from him. And this sort of orb forms around you. It's still underwater, but you find you're able to breathe freer. And you're able to speak.
Oh. I didn't expect to see you here. I was under the impression you were hiding from this. And yet here you are at the precipice.
I am doing you a kindness.
The sleeper does not wish to wake. And so he has sent you?
He needs to stay asleep. Gideon, at this point, you drift by the current, sort of shoved into the orb yourself. You may speak freely if you wish.
I continue holding my breath because I'm kind of confused. Was it dry in here?
It's not dry. You're still kind of floating in water.
Still water. It's just breathable water.
Yeah.
And speakable water.
His eyes dart to you, Gideon, and says, "Who is this one? We didn't meet this one."
Yes, you didn't. This is my compatriot.
Oh.
Yes, we can speak here. So, if you're here, are you here to stop me?
What do you want?
I need his permission.
I sacrificed my freedom to save you so you could ask for permission?
Yes. I don't know why you came. We didn't get along before.
His Royal trusts you.
See, that's the I don't trust Royal, so like... Anyways, yes. Trying to live in this ocean, need his permission, and, hopefully sign a non-aggression pact so he doesn't kill me when he wakes up later.
The dragon.
Yes, the dragon.
Was your compatriot?
Yes.
Yeah. What are you?
I am Gideon.
Is Gideon. He is not like us.
I'm simply here to assist Gregor with whatever is required in order to facilitate this request. If there's a task that need to be done, we are here to do it.
Indeed.
What do you mean you want to live here?
Not in the sunken city, but he controls this ocean. I wish to live in this ocean, and thus I need his permission.
More above it, sort of.
Yeah, but if we keep entering the ocean and exiting, and he's aware of the alert, he's going to know where we are. He's going to know I'm in here.
Sure.
it's better for me to ask permission than forgiveness with this guy.
Oh, sure. I'm just reassuring we have no intention of living down here.
Yeah, that's fair. We aren't going to live down here. We're going to live on an island, but I need permission first. Lest he, kill me. Or I make an enemy of the sleeping titan.
You wish to raise an island?
Indeed. Steal a portion of his land.
For what purpose?
To live upon.
Choose another.
This is the best ocean to live in.
Choose another.
Perhaps I can be of some assistance in clarifying the reason as to why we wish to raise an island here. If I may.
Speak plainly, speak freely, speak of your own free will.
Well, there is an ongoing struggle that we were likely to be a part of. We wish to create a power base and a place that we can convene, converse, consolidate power, and remain hidden from the prying eyes of those who would seek to work contrary to our efforts.
Yes, indeed. Such as the half-brother.
He's
We've
not.
already taken action to avert the gaze of the Olympians. This is a secondary concern, primary concern for Gregor.
This is going to draw attention. I don't know what manner of cloaking you think you've done, but he's not going to want attention drawn to. He begins to choke. Closes
You
his
okay,
eyes
guy?
tightly. He begins to cough. There is blood that drifts from his lips.
I kind of drift over to him. Are you okay?
He grips onto your shirt, Gregor.
Yeah.
Closes his eyes and
No, I know where this is going.
he opens his eyes. The color, the sclera, the irises, all gone. He looks at you now with these almost Scion blue orbs. He says, "Hello, nephew. Cousin?"
Cousin,
Nephew.
are you am I speaking to the slumbering titan?
You speak to the dreamer.
Yes.
And despite efforts made by my servant, I will hear your request personally through his ears. So, what is it you came to ask me? And this is where we will end today's session.
Yep.
Well, that's some shit.
Always. Hold on, let me write down the witty question I had.
Thank you guys for playing. We miss Alice. We miss Charles very much. Hopefully they will be back next week to catch up on what they've missed and to interact with the child that is the most terrifying creature that is in existence currently.
Second most.
Second
Yeah,
most.
I disagree. I mean, Circe is still pretty terrifying, even though she had a more motherly side here. Like,
Yeah, she's scary.
yeah, she's pretty scary.
So before we head out, we are, of course, the Rolling Nomads, but do we have anything to plug?
Sure. I'm LECO Rodriguez. I am a certified personal trainer specialized in weight loss and body recomposition. If you are tired of, generic one-size-fits-all plans that are pretty much guaranteed to fail, reach out to me at teamleco.com for a free consultation. We can chat about your goals. We can chat about frustrations you have. And you can follow me on Twitter at TeamLeco and reach out via instant message or direct message or publicly, and I'll answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, I would continue to say to give Onyx Path your money for any of the Kickstarters they have. Buy their products. They make good stuff. And
Great stuff.
yep. In the Swoley Ghost name. Amen.
In the Swoley Ghost name. As a client of LECO and Team LECO, I'd like to personally provide my feedback and my appreciation for everything that he's put forward. Although there's been some scheduling issues on my part, life is coming at me incredibly fast. Not only has the nutrition plan, the fitness plan been helpful, there is an app that they're using now that is very incredibly helpful. I need to transfer all data over from Fitbit over to that to help out, and so that your coach can monitor your stuff, and if need be, if you can ask for some extra help, then that's available. But yeah, and the consultations are great. And again, because of scheduling issues for me personally, life's coming at me fast. But consultation is another personalized aspect of this as well, and it's very cool to be able to try to work it into the schedule that fits you. Just again, shouting my praise, shouting my love of the program and everything that LECO has put forward. Yeah, just wanted to boost that as well. It is in the chat currently at teamleco.com and twitter.com/teamleco. But yeah, just to giving that a little bit more love. Gregor, do you have anything?
I don't exist.
Understood. We of course have been the Rolling Nomads. Rather than spew out our Twitch schedule that has grown exponentially, we stream Thursdays, Fridays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, with the Wednesday stream this week possibly being canceled. I don't know my work schedule this week. Nothing is posted. So, like I said, life's a little bit weird. But we stream Witcher on Thursdays. We stream Hunter 5th Edition on Fridays, and of course, Scion on Sundays, as well as D&D. Unfortunately, this week D&D is going to be canceled. Our DM has some stuff to take care of. Some real, again, life's coming at us all pretty quickly. So there will be no stream of Colder Than Twitch's Wit today. But for those of you who want to keep up to date with our schedule, you can check our Twitch schedule, twitch.com/rollingnomads, where we go live, where all of our stuff is at. Our schedule is, in fact, up to date. But to keep in track of cancellations, new programming, late starts, things like that, you're going to find us on twitter.com. We are at _Rolling Nomads, and Hive Social, where we are at Rolling Nomads. It's the best way to keep up to date with us for our programming schedules, our late starts, our cancellations, any new programs, stuff like that. That's all I've got for plug. Again, I'm not going to take up 20 minutes of you guys' time spewing out the exact times of our schedule anymore. Eventually, I will have a nice picture of, Monday's this, Tuesday's this, that I can just flash up on the screen whenever I can find a moment to create that and make it look pretty. But that's all we've got. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Scion Godsend. I'm sure nothing strange is going to happen next week with meeting Cthulhu.
All things will be normal. Just listen, we're just in the seat of the mythos, basically. It's literally named after him.
Little blessings, right? Like, you could have ended up meeting Cthulhu while having Charles with you.
Indeed. Or, the stars could have been right, and we could have just had to fight Cthulhu.
Yeah, Charles could have tried to fight the big monster. But we will see if he erupts from the ship downed with his sword to try to fight the big monster next week. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place, same science. We'll see you then.